Medea Benjamin of Code Pink taking on the president. And, she just wrote a book about drone wars. And, in fact, we interviewed her last Friday as Conversations with Great Minds. During the next break, I'll put that up at conversationswithgreatminds.com. I don't think I've put it up there yet, but maybe we did. I don't know. I'd have to check. But we'll get that up. And but she didn't stop, and which is her want. I mean, this is what Medea and Code Pink do, and I salute nonviolent resistance. I salute people who speak back to power. And what I thought was amazing is that typically when Medea and her associates roll out their banners or start shouting, they get immediately hauled off. And instead, the president let her have her say somewhat, and then he kept talking, and it was like then 5-10 minutes later, she started interrupting him again. She was obviously still sitting there. So he was essentially, by saying to her, "Thank you, ma'am," and I'll answer that, and engaging her, was essentially saying to the Secret Service people in the room, don't haul this person off. And I thought that was pretty impressive. I actually have it here on my computer, queued to right where I want to start, if I may. If you can play it off my computer. This is President Obama. He's talking about, and the important thing here, I think, is not so much the interruption, but the fact that he's calling for closing Gitmo. And what he has to say about that. So listen to this. This is the President of the United States this morning. There's the interruption, and I thought that was, a class act the way he handled that. But then what he had to say afterwards is pretty important, particularly when he says it's only politics justifies Congress, and that's not even arguably a justification. But here he is.
Our courts have convicted hundreds of people for terrorism or terrorism-related offenses, including some folks who are more dangerous than most Gitmo detainees. They're in our prisons. And given my administration's relentless pursuit of al-Qaeda's leadership, there is no justification beyond politics for Congress to prevent us from closing a facility that should have never been opened.
Now here,
today,
he gets an ovation for saying Guantanamo never should have even been opened. He's getting an ovation from the National Defense University. And then Medea speaks up.
So, let me finish, ma'am. So today, once again, today,
these desperate people.
I'm about to address it, ma'am, but you got to let me speak. I'm about to address it.
Commander-in-Chief.
Let me address it.
Close Guantanamo today.
Why don't you let me address it, ma'am?
Release those 86 prisoners.
Why don't you sit down and I will tell you exactly what I'm going to do.
Today. That includes 57 Yemenis.
Thank you, ma'am.
It includes Shocker Amr.
Thank you. Thank you. Ma'am, thank you. You should let me finish my sentence. Today, I once again call on Congress to lift the restrictions on detainee transfers from Gitmo. I have asked the Department of Defense to designate a site in the United States where we can hold military commissions. I'm appointing a new senior envoy at the State Department and Defense Department whose sole responsibility will be to achieve the transfer of detainees to third countries. I am lifting the moratorium on detainee transfers to Yemen so we can review them on a case-by-case basis. To the greatest extent possible, we will transfer detainees who have been cleared to go to other countries. Where appropriate, we will bring terrorists to justice in our courts and our military justice system. And we will insist that judicial review be available for every detainee. Now, ma'am, let me finish. Let me finish, ma'am. This is part of free speech, is you being able to speak, but also you listening, and me being able to speak. All right? Thank you.
Interesting.
Told him, the way we treat you is the measure of our own liberty. When
this is the second interruption, so I'll just stop at that point. But because we've already played that, so this is a very, very interesting. There are some very interesting pieces to this speech, and I'm concerned that they might get lost in the Sturm und Drang around it and in the debate about what has preceded it. I did not see Lyndon Johnson repudiate the war in Vietnam. I did not, I was alive during that time. Lyndon Johnson never came out and said, it's time to end the war in Vietnam. It was a mistake. The authorization for that war, the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, should be repealed. I will not sign any legislation that expands it. In fact, I want to see it ended. That's what President Obama said today about the authorization to use force that was given to George Bush after 9/11. Said, it's time to end this war. LBJ never said that. To the best of my knowledge. I mean, it's possible he said something like that, but I don't think so. Hubert Humphrey talked about, ending the war, but it was always in the context of we've got to end the war, we got to win the war. And Richard Nixon, a secret plan to end the war with dignity.